will doctors agree that the key to life is the neural liquid guiding every thought, movement, and decision you consciously make?
The teenage brain. By the second decade of life, the human brain is full size. It's billions of neurons all in place. But it is not yet finished.
The brain is a work in progress, and adolescence is the last great time of enormous brain change and brain development.
Now the drama of brain development focuses on the part of the brain that makes us uniquely human, the still maturing prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal cortex is a part of the brain that allows us to make future plans, and that's involved in such highly abstract areas as personal responsibility, morality, and self-control.
Scientists had once hoped that MRI images of the brain would help solve the mysteries of schizophrenia by identifying damage to specific brain structures. Instead, the images revealed a new mystery.
We were surprised to see that there was no obvious hole in the head. But what there was that the ventricles of the brain, which are these centers in the brain that have spinal fluid, water in them, that are just cavities, were slightly bigger in patients with schizophrenia.
Why were the ventricles, reservoirs of fluid that cushion the brain's delicate tissue, larger in schizophrenia? The oversized ventricles proved to be evidence that other areas of the brain were smaller.
Your skull is made of hard bones that does not expand. So if the ventricles, these cavities, got bigger, the only way all this could stay inside your skull was that something else had to get smaller. And there have been a lot of studies subsequently showing that there is a slight, very slight, thinning of the surface of the brain, the cortex, probably that accounts for these changes in the ventricles.
Once again, evidence pointed to a connection between damage in the prefrontal cortex and schizophrenia, which may help explain why the disease appears most often during adolescence.
The human organism is actually based on energy templates. There's more than one template. There are 7 primary templates, and there's an 8th field, and I'm going to demonstrate the 8th field. Let's imagine I built a very special pair of glasses. And you put this pair of glasses on, and you looked at a human being, and you would be shocked and amazed. What you would see would just blow your mind. You would see a field that would have streams of energy threading in and out of the body everywhere. It would be incredibly complex. It's nothing to do with muscle strength. Nothing whatsoever to do with muscle strength. What you're analyzing is the flow, the balance, and the distribution of energy. It's all about energy. It's me. The interesting thing is that the vocal cords enjoy a very special privilege. The vocal cords, they need energy like every other muscle in the body, but they draw it from everywhere. I mean literally everything about you, your personality, your traits, your characteristics, all the information about you is fed into the energy that goes to the vocal cords. And when you talk to me, your voice is modulated with all kinds of information. God gave me a gift. I can pick that off of your voice. I don't refer to as white fields because they all operate with a frequency. So each field occupies the same space-time domain as the other fields without interference. In other words, information is waves of a different energy, frequency, wavelength, and all the fields are the same amplitude. But one field does not interfere with the operation of the other. And they're templates. Now, they're not just templates. See, when Dr. Robert O. Becker wrote his famous body, anybody here ever read it? Yeah. Oh, it's a must. Did you notice a quote in there? I've never seen anybody touch this quote with a 10-foot pole. He says that DNA cannot possibly explain the difference between any two given individuals. Yeah. In turn, he says DNA have a control mechanism. That's the way it's. And then he doesn't go beyond that. The control mechanism is the field. DNA compared to the field is very simple. The field is very sophisticated. DNA is very simple. Primarily what DNA does is encode the sequence of amino acids which make up all the proteins, over 30,000 proteins that we're made of. So Becker realizes that this field is a template. And everybody is so structurally different. You're different in size and, you know, the bone size and, you know, the width of your shoulders and the length of your arms. Everybody's slightly different. And that's based on a template. And Dr. Richard Gerber does a really good job in his book, Energetic Medicine, describing the template and that phenomenon. That's a neat book to read, too, if you want a real basic overview of this type of thing. Read Dr. Richard Gerber's book. Interesting thing is that the template fields are not just templates. They're also operational. Because inside the cells, you have these little molecular-sized machines that perform these precise functions, and they do it over and over again, and they do it with great precision. For instance, did you know that something goes in there and kind of takes apart your DNA and it copies part of your DNA, okay? And pulls that out and pulls it like a little train over to a tool. It's kind of a cup-shaped thing. This little thing gets in there and pushes it into the cup-shaped thing and takes the chain of amino acids and folds them up into a nice, really interesting geometric pattern. And until the protein attains that geometry, it's dysfunctional. It's of no use to you and I. So its functionality is dependent on what?
Geometry.
Geometry.
Not chemistry.
Yeah, not chemistry. Geometry. Temporal spatial geometry. There's the key. There's the key to everything I realize we have to look past chemistry. This temporal geometry is what it is. Okay? But that protein is dysfunctional. If a mistake is made, the protein is of no use to the body. It has precise. So that's why the amino acid chains are designed the way they are. So when the little car pushes it into the little, we'll call it the little roundhouse here, okay, it folds up into this usable temporal spatial form. Isn't that interesting? Oh, it's just so fascinating. Oh boy, you can get lost in this stuff. It's so interesting. There's the key. I keep hearing it everywhere I go. You're into sacred geometry. No, I'm not. I'm into functional geometry. There's a difference. Some geometric form, like the flower of life, I can't make it do anything.
Oh, okay.
Can't make it do anything. It's fascinating. It shows us some really interesting geometric relationships, and most of this sacred geometry is about that.
Yeah.
But it's not functional. I can't get work out of it. When I create geometry, I need to get work from the geometry.